Hi, this is Tim at the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is the kind of watch I like to review. Complicated with real history, a grain dial, and excellent value for a high complication. Everyone knows I like green dials, I like watches with deep roots, and I love complications. So this 2024 launched TAG Heuer Carrera Chronograph Tourbillon is right up my alley. Now, 1 year after the big anniversary debuts for TAG Heuer, it quietly launched this chronograph tourbillon that is 42 millimeters in diameter and stainless steel, 14.5 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, a surprisingly compact 48.4 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, it continues TAG's recent run of glass box style crystals and flanged dials. It's a good looking watch, and in a lot of ways, this is probably the tourbillon chronograph that you would want to wear every day. Sure, some high-end brands make them, but this one in full steel with 100 meters water resistant, automatic winding, and plenty of lume is actually an everyday tourbillon chrono. And you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it wears well. I actually think you could probably wear this on a wrist of 15 centimeters circumference. It's not a thin watch, but given just how dramatically sloped the bezel is and low the case flank is, actually, yeah, I think you could fit this underneath most shirts. The strap is high quality. You can see an unusual sort of cut that includes medium and small rectangular scale alligator leather. It's a unique sort of gradient cut, large to small, that you don't see all that often, and it's visually gripping. I actually did pass my eyes over it a couple of times just to get a sense of it and size it up, but it looks different, and it's nicely matched to the watch, as alligator leather is upscale, and this is definitely the prince of Carreras, at least in the current catalog. Taking a look at the buckle, you can see it's a twin trigger release system. This is a very familiar clasp to TAG Heuer fans. You have to press both triggers for it to open, and then the way this works is you tuck the strap in through this little crimping device, and you have infinite adjustability within the range of the strap. So you see how there's no perforations? So you're not going to get stuck in between sizes. You can move it as far in or out as you like, right up to about the point where it's just going to run out of strap length. So you have a lot of adjustability, almost like a Velcro strap in that sense. It's fairly thick. You can see calf skin on the bottom, gator on the top, and then the edge is shear cut with lacquering for refinement with a monotone stitch. And it's sort of a distressed grain with a semi-gloss finish. Carrera lugs are famous, and they are generally the one part that has been a constant on every Carrera since the first one in 1963. Even when the Carrera hasn't been a chronograph, these sharp, angular, integrated lugs have been part of the design scheme. You can see here there's some sharp faceting with polish and satin for contrast. And then as we get up, you could see that we have no separate bezel structure. So this is a monoblock case, and that means there's a very seamless aesthetic topside with everything, dial and movement, loading through the screwed-in case back. We have these vintage-inspired pump-style pushers. You can see they have some interesting faceting and contrasting polish and satination. The crown here is a push-down, but because of the advanced seals, it's a 100-meter watch, so if you want to swim with this, you're good to go. Just put it on a different strap. You can see that we've got the TAG Heuer logo on the crown. We've also got it on the buckle. And the dial has this crazy amount of camber outboard to trace the arc of the glass box crystal. This is something that TAG Heuer has been doing more and more for approximately the last 4 or 5 years. Initially, they were using dramatically cambered crystals, and then it seems like for 2023, the anniversary year, they went all out with truly huge vaulted and double curved crystals that give you almost the aesthetic of a vintage plexi. And you can see how the dial is actually arced at its edge to fill that flank, so you can actually read calibrations in profile. Now, from the top, TAG Heuer describes this as teal-green, and I'm not going to object. It does have some undertones of blue, almost like the racing green you see on Aston Martins, and despite the past association between TAG Heuer and Aston Martin, that is purely coincidental. We'll get the minute hand out of the way and do a lume shot, because the watch is fairly well loomed. The hands as well as the indices are rhodium-plated steel for a high-gloss look. You can see all the hour indices, with the exception of 6 o'clock, are quite distinct. And then we have a twin-register chronograph. We have an azurage, or concentric patterning, under chronograph hours as well as under chronograph minutes. Now, the rest of the dial is nicely brushed and satinated, and you can see the way the applique indices sort of socket into the track is quite fascinating. There's a lot of visual interest here. You can even see there's a bit of a dished edge to these registers, and then a polished double-faceted chapter ring for the flying tourbillon. And it is a flying tourbillon because there's no upper bridge to block your view. You can also see it's free-sprung for durability as well as precise adjustment, and it uses KIF shock protection, which on TAG Heuer is a bit of a surprise because that's a sort of boutique-y shock protection. The kind of offbeat alternative to Inca block that you typically see on higher-end watches, like, for example, Jaeger-LeCoultre or Zenith. Now, the oscillation rate here is 28,800 vibrations per hour, so no tricks are played in order to get the excellent 80-hour power reserve associated with this movement. And you'll see that the decoration of the tourbillon includes primarily brushed faceting with polished screw heads. Turn it all over, you can see the movement. And it's based on the long-running TH20, which is an automatic winder with an 80-hour power reserve, 33 pivot joules, flying tourbillon. It also features a chronograph. By the way, this is the underside of the tourbillon structure. Features a chronograph with a column wheel and a vertical clutch. You can see the column wheel at the top. That is your function selector. It switches between, for example, start, stop, and reset. Column wheel feel on this watch is excellent. And then the vertical clutch allows engagement without any jump, stagger, or extraneous motion to the chronograph seconds hand. It also allows you to leave it running if you wish for full-time operation with no additional hazard, wear, or tear to the watch. Now, one thing it does not have, because making a hacking tourbillon at this price would probably be ruinously expensive, it does not feature a hacking function. But if you do want to use the chronograph seconds hand as your running seconds, you can just at any point you want, stop it, reset it, and now you've synchronized to a reference time. Again, it's like a zero resettable seconds hand. The movement's fairly large, and it nicely fills the case back, though you can see the finishing is industrial. We have a few little polished accents. We have a lot of satin brushing. We have machine-laid stripes that have particularly deep texture, and then we have snailing outboard with bevels, when present, laid down by mechanical means. But again, appropriate for the price of the watch. You're getting a lot of durability and functionality and usability in an automatic winding flying tourbillon chronograph. So reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.